Good day, guys. I'm Dr. Gourang Prabhu. I'm a graduate of Avalon University School of Medicine that's based out of Curacao. And today I'm here to talk about my journey about getting into residency and the process of getting into residency. So I'm a citizen of India, and as all of you guys know, I had to take the big step after my 12th grade exam that was pursuing a career in medicine. And as most of you know, getting into a field of medicine is not as easy, and you have to work hard into it, and so I did. I always wanted to pursue education out of India, and that's why I started looking for options as into what schools and what countries I can go to become a doctor in the United States of America. While searching for the options, I came across Ed Plus and Mr. Venkat Reddy and found out about Avalon University School of Medicine. And ever since then, I've had a very exciting and a very flourishing journey. So my journey started back after my 12th grade examinations and all the All India pre-medical entrance examination. Once all of that was concluded, I contacted Mr. Reddy and wanted to go towards education for future in the US. So after completing my 12th grade, I started looking for options to study abroad. And of course, the United States is the most lucrative for becoming a future doctor. I found out about Avalon University School of Medicine through Mr. Venkat Reddy, and he was supportive throughout the way for me. It all started with the application for a visa process to go to the school, and the visa process can be very confusing but is very easy if you have the right guidance, and that's where Ed Plus helped me the most. They were able to show me the right directions, how to apply and how to get the visa, and so I did, and that was the very beginning of our journey. Once I secured the visa, we started going and doing all the formalities, completed all the formalities, and the big day arrived where we had to go back and fly out to Curacao. And I remember reaching Curacao and seeing my campus for the first time and knowing that this is the place where I'm going to spend a very big part of my life and gain most amount of knowledge that I ever had till today. The island is beautiful. Curacao has a very good locality. It's a perfect place to study and have a decent time in your life. It has the island vibe to it, and the school and the campus is very supportive. We had really good professors and faculty on campus. Our dean and our chancellor, Dr. Fateh and Dr. Arja, were very helpful throughout the process. We had good training programs there, good fundamental steps to be taught. I started my education as a student of pre-med 4, and I carried on my journey as it went. It was hard work throughout the way. There was no easy stepping stones. We had to work hard. We had to be up to date with all of the submissions. We had to be up to date with all of the exams coming up. Avalon University has a concept of taking a block exam every month, which is very useful. It keeps you in a great amount of check as what you are studying. I remember when we went into MD1, studying anatomy, physiology, all of it was a big journey for us. We didn't know what was going to happen, and we took one step at a time. We started learning about everything in a very innovative way, in a very practical way, to be clear about it. And practical education was really good. The anatomy lab and the dissections were really helpful for us. Physiology, we had great physiological support systems. The professors were really great, and that helped us along the way. After completing my semesters of medicine in Curacao, it was time to take the big step. That's the STEP exams. For those of all who don't know about the STEP exams, I'll give you a short outlook about it. So to get a residency spot in the US, you have to complete basic 3 STEP exams. That's Step 1, Step 2 CK, and Step 2 CS. These are the basic STEP exams you need to take before going for a residency program in the US. And the journey to do a STEP exam is not as easy. You have to put in your hard work for it, but again, under the right guidance, it's very useful for us. So Avalon University, throughout the 4 semesters and the 5th semester on the island, had trained us very well. The block exam had helped us really well. And when the time came to give the STEP exams, we had our resources to prepare. First aid for Step 1 and UWorld were most definitely the most useful researchers, the most useful resources. Along with Becker's, Kaplan did help us as well. DIT was definitely an addition to the source. And once we felt that we were decently ready, we gave an exam called as the NBME. Once we qualified the NBME, we went ahead and gathered the confidence to give the STEP exams, and so we did. And we performed decently on the STEP exam. The STEP exam is a 8-hour long exam. It has 7 blocks. This is the step 1, and it goes and asks you questions that you would never imagine, questions that are tough yet easy if you have the right guidance and the right amount of studying done for it. Once you qualify the STEP exams, you go to your clinical rotations in the United States or the Caribbean, in Curacao, as you choose. I, for my chance, went to rotate in West Virginia, in Beckley. And Beckley was a really good clinical site for me. It suited along with my personality. I am a big person who likes the wildlife and the wonderfulness along with it, and West Virginia was really great for it. So I ended up in West Virginia and did my clinical rotations there. During my clinical rotations, you go to different accredited hospitals along with Avalon, and in West Virginia we had 2, Beckley Appalachian Regional Hospital and Raleigh General Hospital, both of which had amazing faculty mentors who helped us along the way. I remember going to each and every clinical rotation early in the morning, working hard during that time, coming back home and studying. And this was the process for 2 to 3 years for us. We did this on a regular daily basis. And along with this time, we were studying for an exam called a Step 2 CK. Step 2 CK was a very difficult exam, but again, very easy under the right guidance. And we had good guidance by our clinical professors during the time. I was able to do good on my Step 2 CK, and I was able to complete my CS examination during the same time period. This Step 2 CS exam is an acting based exam, something like the OSCE, where you have live patient interactions. You sit along with the patients and ask them for their symptoms, and then you come out of the room and write the notes. We took this exam in Chicago, and once that was done, we were ready to apply for residencies. During application for residencies, you have to complete a lot of formalities, and Avalon University was very helpful in this manner. All of our clinical coordinators were very helpful in coordinating with us and getting the right things done for us. We got done and certified for applying for our residencies in September, and that's when the residency application process started. We sent out an application and we waited for the residency programs to get back to us for interviews. Within the next month or so, I had a couple of interviews that I had to attend during the month of December and January, and I went for most of the interviews. Interview times, they don't usually ask you about medicine and all the aspects of medicine. They just want to know what kind of a person you are, how you can speak, how you can communicate with public. And I believe the clinical rotations had trained me to do so, because while you were in the United States and also Curacao, you get a basic training how to interact with people and how to talk with them, and this definitely helped me during my interview experience. After your interview experience is done, you create a rank order list. I created a rank order list for myself, and in March you find out where you match. I was lucky enough and fortunate enough with the right guidance to match in the choice of my specialty. That was internal medicine for me, and that was my journey to get to residency through all the hardships and the attributes to it.
Gaurav, like most of the parents are in a confused state of this Central American education system, and they are asking me like the questions like why we can't go directly to US to pursue medicine. So what are the differences you noticed with the American proper American medical education and the Central American medical education?
Well, I'd like to address 3 things over here, and those will be the 3 different kinds of medical education systems that we have. The first one being the Indian medical education, the second one being the Caribbean medical education, and the third one being the proper American medical education. So let's talk about the American medical education first. To do a medical education throughout in America, you have to have a bachelorate from America. That's a 10+4 system before you go into a med school. After completing a bachelorate from America, you have to give something called as the MCAT. Once you qualify MCAT, you go and do a medical school from the US, and after that you write the same step exams to go into a residency. And after residency, it's a pretty straightforward route. Now let's talk about the Indian system. Indian system, right after the 12th grade, you go into a medical school. You do the medical school for 4 years. You do an internship year for another year. After that, you take about 2 or 3 years depending on yourself and your speed to prepare for the step exams. And once the STEP exam is done, you go to the US, you do a couple of clinical rotations to get to know the US system, and then you go write the STEP exams, do the rotations, and go for your residencies. The Caribbean system has many advantages to it. First of all, it's a similar education system to India wherein you don't need a bachelorette program. Right after 12th grade, you do 2 or 1 semesters of pre-med. After your pre-med semester is done, you do a medical school, 2 years in the Caribbean and 2 years in the US or the Caribbean according to your choice. And during these 2 years of clinical rotation, you gain a lot of clinical exposure in the US. And once this is done, you write your STEP exams in the time of the Caribbean education. That means compared to the US education, you're saving 4 years, and compared to the Indian education, you're saving 3 years if you go through the Caribbean way. And once that's done, you give the same 3 STEP exams and do a residency, and then the road is straightforward.
How you can compare Avalon with other universities in Caribbean?
So to answer that question, I'd like to say there are many Caribbean schools out there. And Avalon is one of those schools that gives you the proper right guidance of education in a reasonable, proper budget. While we started looking for Caribbean schools, we were contacted by Mr. Reddy and we contacted him, and we found out about Avalon, which was a reasonable school, had proper amount of education and had the right guidance in it. The professors in Avalon are really good. They show you the right amount of guidance. They show you how to mold yourself. They teach you in a proper way. And Avalon has a lot of facilities attached to it that a lot of Caribbean schools don't. They have a very good lab facility. It's on a very nice island that helps you have a very good leisure activity along with studies, which is very important during the time of medical school. And in a reasonable budget, which is very important for all of us thinking about future education. The hostel facilities during my time on the island were Margarita and Ala Blanca, and these were very convenient to stay on the island. They were very close to the campus and had all the facilities that we could think of. They had a very nice view, a very nice swimming pool and other recreational facilities. And most of all, because being close to the campus, we had access to the library. And me being a library person, I spent most of my time in the library. Being close to the campus was a big boon for me, where I could come and go off the library at any time, living close there.
After my MD5, I migrated to US to do my clinical rotations at Berkeley, West Virginia, and the experience of your clinical rotations over there.
So after completing my MD5 on the island, I went to the US to do my clinical rotations, and I chose Berkeley, West Virginia as my clinical rotation site. Berkeley, West Virginia was a really good clinical rotation site, firstly because of the mentoring there. The professors and the doctors who we were posted under were really helpful to us. They guided us along the way. The patient population in Berkeley, West Virginia was really good to us. They showed us how to deal with patients, how to deal with them as human, and how to treat them. The disease in Berkeley, West Virginia is on a rise at the current moment, which as medical student was a good thing for us, where we got to experience a lot of new things. We were taught about all the management of the diseases from our doctors and were able to deal with them when it came to the STEP exams following them. Also, Berkeley, West Virginia had great weather. It has amazing wildlife there, which is very good for recreational activities and good to find and go around with friends.
And those doctors are helpful for your step 2?
Definitely. Having the right rotations is very important for your step 2. Your step 1 exam is something that's a lot of book based and you need to know your material well. The step 2 exam is a lot of clinical based and you need to have a very good sense of what actually goes around in the clinics to give that exam and have good scores in that exam. And that was really helpful for us going in Berkeley, West Virginia, where we had a lot of doctors who had recently graduated or had given the step 2 exams in the last 10 years who could have guided us in the right way. They taught us about CS, that's the clinical skills exam, and also the clinical knowledge exam, the CK, which definitely helped us to give and secure a decent score on those exams.
I thank Advice who are trying to give broad information for the students who wanted to do medicine program in abroad, and for more information please subscribe Advice.
I would like to congratulate Mr. Karunakar to start such an initiative which will be available for all the students on YouTube.
Thanks to Advice and please subscribe the channel.
అండ్ థ్యాంక్స్ టు అడ్వైస్. ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ చాలామందికి రీచ్ అవ్వాలి, ఈ అడ్వైస్ ఛానల్లో వచ్చే కార్యక్రమాలు చాలామంది విద్యార్థులకు రీచ్ అవ్వాలి అంటే subscribes to Advice.
హాయ్ అండి, నేను డాక్టర్ రామ్. థ్యాంక్స్ ఫర్ EDVS ఛానల్. సబ్స్క్రైబ్ టు EDVS.
Thanks to Advice channel. Please subscribe Advice channel.
Hello guys, like for successful journey of your studies platform destination, so please follow and subscribe to advice.in.
I want to congratulate Mr. Karunakar. I want to thanks Advage channel and please subscribe Advage.